What does anything is possible mean? What does that make available for us when we take it on? And if you're feeling like, well, maybe that applies to other people, but not necessarily me, well, we're going to explore that too. So, welcome to this week's message. Anything is possible. So, depending on your experience around creating what you want in life, you may see a question mark at the end of that, or a line through it, thinking that's really not true, or at least in a specific area. So, most of us have experiences where we are really good in one particular area, but maybe something else is a bit of a stretch for us. Everybody has had that experience. So, maybe you even feel like anything is possible in the area of career or in the area of relationships, but it's not in other areas like in creating more social contacts or having closer friendships. Whatever the case may be, today we are going to explore what it really means when we say that anything is possible. Hi, my name is Elari Onawa. I have been a life on purpose coach since 2003, and I'm also the author of Just Believe: How Faith in Yourself Shifts Everything. And when I say it shifts everything, it does. So let's move forward into exploring what anything is possible actually means. You've probably heard the term, and you may think that's a nice platitude, but let's really dig in so we can understand what is available for us when we really take it on. When you hear anything is possible, what's your first response to that statement? Because that will tell you a lot about where you stand with it. So if you automatically say, well, I've heard that, yeah, I know, but you're struggling in an area with a goal, or maybe you've stopped setting goals, or you've stopped letting yourself dream and create in a bigger way. Maybe you feel like you've been hiding and playing it safe. Those are all indicators that you really don't believe that anything is possible. And so today we're going to talk about possibility. And sometimes we need to see where we are before we can move into that next state of expanded ability to create what we want in life. So let's look at what it looks like when we don't really believe it. Okay. Because then we know when we're in that, we know, okay, I'm not cultivating possibility. I'm cultivating limitation, or I'm cultivating fear, or whatever the case may be. We need to easily recognize it. So if we are in a state of not really embracing that as a spiritual truth, and it is a spiritual truth, if we haven't embraced that, then in some way we're seeing ourselves as smaller than we are. We are not cultivating consciousness or an attitude or opinions and conclusions about life or ourselves that is helpful. Okay. Many times we'll say we don't really know what we want. And what's really under that is a reluctance to choose and a reluctance to embrace what we want because we're afraid that we can't have it. And so if that is true, then guess what? We don't really believe that anything is possible, at least for us in the moment. And if we stay there, we can stay there for years, and we can keep cultivating struggle. So we feel this push and pull. We feel that we're being drawn towards something, but we won't let ourselves go there. So that's a lot like having your foot on the brake and the gas pedal at the same time. You can't get any momentum, so you're trying to move, but you're not moving because you're afraid that if you actually say yes to something that you like and that you want, that you're not going to have it and you'll just be disappointed. Again, fear of disappointment is an indication that we're not embracing anything as possible. The other thing that I see in working with clients that often comes up around possibility is the past. But this is where we want to remember that possibility doesn't necessarily land in the past if you don't have a powerful story about your past. So it's not the past itself, it's the stories we have about the past. So if we're making ourselves wrong or we're feeling regret in any area, whether it's career or relationships or an ended relationship or a relationship that didn't happen or something that we feel we could have done better in our career or a different choice we should have made, all of those things will create regret because we're making ourselves wrong. Okay, and that will always feel bad because your soul doesn't see life experiences like that. Your soul sees them as experiences that have value. Everything from your soul's perspective has value. And when we make it wrong, we're basically shutting ourselves off from the ability to see the value. So once we see the value in our life experiences, once we value them and bring them into us, back into our acceptance instead of rejecting them, all of a sudden we have this immense freedom and we can step into possibility in a much bigger way. So what does anything is possible mean? What does that feel like first? Okay, so anything is possible feels like positive momentum. It feels like enthusiasm and excitement. So when you're embracing and embodying that anything really is possible for you, then you're excited to choose. You're excited to take on new possibilities. You're excited to explore. And you also have a level of confidence in your choices. So sometimes when we're not embracing possibility, it's because we don't have the playbook and we feel like there's something missing in our approach that's just not working. And that's okay, but then get the playbook. And by the way, I'm here to help. Find out what it is that is off for you in your approach so that you don't block yourself from possibility. And one way to move more smoothly with momentum, with enthusiasm, with the attitude that anything is possible is to start by choosing that you are willing to believe that anything is possible for you, even if you don't thoroughly 100% believe it right now. The first most important choice is to be willing to believe that anything is possible because you are choosing to believe that it is so. Remember, the mother of all spiritual laws is, it is done unto you as you believe. That everything else flows from that. So if you don't start with the willingness to believe that anything can be possible, then you're going to have a lot of stops and starts, and you're not going to build momentum and enthusiasm. So what happens then? So let's say now I'm inviting you and you're saying yes. Yes, I'm willing to believe that anything is possible. Yes, I'm taking that on. I'm willing to believe that anything is possible for me. Okay, so the next step then, as you embrace that anything can be possible, and you start feeding that attitude, those conclusions, then what happens is you're going to start to notice when you're not doing that. And that is a very important choice point. So let's say that you have a goal or a desire that you've wanted to clarify and move forward with for a very long time. I'll let you take a moment and bring something to mind. Have you got it? So bring that to mind. And now, if you were to take that desire and say, if anything is possible, then this can be possible too. And I'm now willing to believe that it's possible for me to have that it's actually possible for me to create that in a way that really lights me up, to have that, to attract it in a way that works for me, that I'm excited about, that would have me springing out of bed in the morning. Now you're starting to shift into a new possibility. Now, when you bump up against something that maybe doesn't look like you thought it should, that is that choice point. If you bump up against something and your first impulse is to make it wrong or to make yourself wrong, for example, how did that happen? Why is that there? But you're asking, why is that there? Why did that come to me in that way? I don't want that. So if your first impulse is to push against what is, then you want to take a deep breath and let that go, because that actually can stop possibility. Because sometimes things come to us in a way that is even better than what we could imagine. And so we're actually tying the hands of the universe, of the spiritual principle that anything is possible. We're tying the hands of the universe, of Great Spirit, of our non-physical helpers that are helping us on the other side, helping us line up with what we really want. So if we reject an experience because it doesn't look like what we thought it should, now we actually move out of possibility. Because remember, anything is possible means that there is infinite potential out there, and we may not understand how all of the moving pieces fit together. So the other part of possibility is to stay open to what shows up in your life, because and to trust it, that now when you're bringing in anything is possible, that you're also staying open and free of judgment when things show up. So you're looking at it as feedback, as data, and you're not letting it throw you off. You're not letting a condition like a delay or what's perceived as a delay, you're not letting that throw you off course and to slide back into impossibility or to push against the event. You're looking at it and saying, okay, well, that's showing up for a positive reason. How is it showing up? Maybe you don't know, or you don't know why. But if you trust and cultivate possibility and trust together, then you start to attract the best possible outcomes, even when you didn't see them coming, okay? Because let's face it, we don't always know the best path from point A to point B. We don't always know that there are lots of circumstances in life that can come up that we don't have the information, and especially if we're creating something new. And this is where trusting your soul, that non-physical aspect of you, trusting yourself is so important. And I'm not talking about the self, the mini-me self, that comes from fear and regret and making yourself or other people wrong. That's all small self attitude and perspective. But your soul is coming from anything is possible. Your soul believes that 110%, 2000%. So if you're coming from anything less than anything is possible, you're not aligned with the wisdom of your soul. And that's why when you start looking and following fear, or you're limiting yourself, it doesn't feel good. It feels like something's off. Well, guess what? It's off because you're making yourself wrong, or you're limiting yourself in some way, and your soul is saying, hey, wait a minute, look over here, it is possible. So anything is possible is a spiritual principle that your soul knows to the very core of your being. So think about it this way. This is something that I like to share with my clients and in programs that I do. If you were to imagine a planet-sized dandelion, and in the middle of the dandelion, so that's the dandelion with all these wonderful soft filaments, iridescent filaments coming out. And maybe there's hundreds of them or thousands of these filaments. Well, each of these filaments represents a lifetime. And at the core is this brilliant, glowing, vibrant being, and that's your soul. So who you know yourself as, or how you may be relating to yourself right now, is one of those filaments. But who you actually are is a blended being. You are physically oriented, but you're also a non-physical. There's a larger aspect of you that is non-physically oriented. And that part of you knows to the very core of its being, of your being, that anything is possible, that if you have a desire and you're drawn to that, there is a possibility that you can have it. It is potential, your infinite potential. You can have that. So the key here is to start cultivating, seeing yourself in a larger way, more as that blended being, partnering with that non-physical aspect of yourself. And of course, that's one of the things that I help my clients do. And as you do that, you bring in and take on more and more of your soul qualities, and you start to live from the possibility, from the potential that is within you. And it's not scary anymore. It's fun because, as you know, you are here to play in the sandbox of time and space. And if you're not allowing yourself to play, you're gonna feel off. You're gonna feel limited. You're gonna feel like there's something missing. And the reality is that you have the capability of creating absolutely anything that you desire. And you are having those impulses. You're being called towards something, and your soul is calling you. That's the language, your heartfelt dreams and desires. They are the language of your soul. And that's what brings in that life force through you. That's the essence of life that really gets you up in the morning, that creates the enthusiasm, is allowing yourself to go out and play in the spirit that you intended when you came here. So my question for you is, are you ready to take on the spiritual truth that anything is possible? Now is the moment that you can say, yes, I am willing to take on the spiritual truth that anything is possible for me. And here's the key. Don't try to figure out how yet. Allow yourself to cultivate the belief, the willingness to believe. I am willing to believe that anything is possible for me. I'm willing to partner with my soul. I'm willing to bring in the resources and the assistance needed. I'm willing to have fun with this. I'm willing to expand. Bring in the willingness first and allow yourself to feed that and to anchor that. And you'll find that as you do that, that new possibilities start to open up, and you also will start to shift how you see things. So start there. That's a great place to start. And of course, I'm here to help you move through the other aspects of creating life, the masterful creator that you came into this life to be. And of course, if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below too. Until next time, walk in beauty. Bye for now.